We've heard of this famous place called Sniper Alley.
Been there, done that.
So tell us a bit about that place.
Sniper Alley was in Sarajevo. When I was there, I went up and down Sniper Alley quite a few times, and initially we just had a soft-skinned vehicle, and they told us to stop using that soft-skinned vehicle because people were being killed on that route. So from then on, it was mandatory that we travel in an armored personnel vehicle. You could hear the bullets pinging off the APC as you were driving along. Yeah.
What does that feel like? You know, when you're sitting there in the APC and you realize that these people are trying to kill you and shooting at you. What's going through your mind?
Well, I didn't really think they were trying to kill us in an armored personnel carrier. They were just having fun. The snipers up there, of course, they get bored, so they shoot at things. And an armored personnel carrier with the United Nations markers are a pretty good target. They're not going to hurt anybody in it because we're completely closed. Even the driver is down inside with his hatch closed. So there was really no danger. If they'd have wanted to kill us, they would have used a larger round, like a rocket-propelled grenade or a 20mm weapon. Feeling you get in the center of your forehead when you think somebody is pointing a weapon at you. I got that a lot. You just felt that somebody out there had their sights on you.
What is it with that kind of stress on a daily basis, I would think? What's some of the... How does that affect you when you're just trying to do your job?
Well, your adrenaline goes up really high, and you actually become an adrenaline junkie. And so quite often, myself included, we actually went looking for more excitement so we could get that adrenaline high. And actually put ourselves in a bit of danger trying to get that adrenaline high. And then when we came back from overseas and there was no way of getting that adrenaline high, then it was quite a come down. I guess it would equate to somebody being on drugs or on heroin or something like that. I've never tried that myself. Well, part of my job was also bomb disposal, so that was a pretty good adrenaline high when you go out and pick up a bomb and take the fuse out, find something that is suspected to be booby-trapped, and you take it apart. I never did find a booby trap, but there were several instances where people thought there were booby traps, and I had to go in and ensure that it was safe. The problem was we didn't know what they had. That was the biggest problem when we first arrived there. We didn't know what mines they were putting out. We had to go and search them out and find them. We had to find soldiers who were putting the mines in and get them to explain it to us. And quite often that was successful. We go and have what they call it's a brandy liqueur, it's called Slivovitz. You have a few of those and a few beer, and I'm an engineer, you're an engineer, tell me all about this, how does this one work? And next thing you know, you have pretty much all the information you need. Luckily, close into Daravar, we found an ammunition depot. And we got into that ammunition depot. The gate was actually booby-trapped. I lied earlier. I did find one real booby-trap. It was on a gate, so if we'd have slid the gate open, it would have exploded. And there was everything you could possibly think of, and everything that they were using in the theater. Every mine, every booby-trap, every anti-personnel mine, anti-tank mine, grenade. We were able to package up 7 of them and send them back to Canada, in fact, so the next troops coming over could have the benefit of training on them before they come over.
So maybe talk about your best day. A best
I would say when I was in with the kids, we would get into the schools. You'd have them really interested because this was their lives that they were talking about, and they had within their schools all kinds of kids that had already been horribly mutilated, lost parts of their bodies and so on because of the explosive devices, and they didn't know enough to leave them alone and stay away from them. Some of them simply walked on a mine without even knowing and had their leg blown off. I witnessed that a couple of times.
The worst day?
Yes, it would be. A good friend of mine, Mike Ralph, got killed. We were all in the camp, and the word came in that Mike had been killed. And I was asked to do the investigation. find out what happened. It was on a, what they call a black track road, which is an area where it's not paved at all. It's just a grass route through the trees, and you drive up and down and through, in and around. And this was patrol routes, and all kinds of other things that went through there. What had happened was that they had buried two anti-tank mines, one on top of the other, but it was deeply buried. And what happened is the trucks were going over this one spot, and it was creating a bit of a rut. And eventually, the ground sank down low enough so that the next vehicle going over it detonated the mines, and it happened to be my brother. The explosive force killed him instantly. It flipped the truck upwards, backwards, and over end for end once. Through the engine about 125 yards, and the powertrain another 75 yards in the opposite direction. Took the front right wheel and completely spun it up over top of the truck. It was an ugly mess.
And you've come home, and now there's the cost to pay for all those experiences. What was the cost?
Initially, it wasn't that I could perceive. I say I couldn't perceive. My wife definitely did. When I came out of there, I had, I guess you'd call it a joy of life. I was drinking, I was self-medicating is what I was doing. I was drinking way too excessively. And I started having horrific nightmares. And I wasn't getting any more than about 2 hours sleep a night, if that. I'd be falling asleep at least 3 or 4 times, going into work in the morning. And I decided that it was going a bit too far. I totally quit drinking. I quit my job. You know, I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to live. I decided I wanted to live, and I wanted to enjoy life. I found out through a friend in Veterans Affairs that there was a group run by Dr. Marvin Westwood, who's with the University of British Columbia. I'd come out of those groups, and I would literally cry all the way home. And I lived in Chilliwack, and the group sessions were in Vancouver.
Some of the ramp ceremonies, and that's just of every veteran that we've talked to here. And you see those ramp ceremonies, and what goes through your mind?
Well, you think of the families, of course. I'm very sorry that you've lost another brother in arms. The families are going to have to go on living without that loved one. It's a terrible waste of life, and you also feel pride that the man has done his duty. And he probably would have no regrets. I know I wouldn't if it was me. No regrets, none whatsoever. I was very proud of my military career and my service, and being awarded the Order of Military Merit proved that I was doing a good job. I strongly believe in the peacekeeper. I think Canada has some of the very, very best, if not the best, in the world.